Malware in the Google Play Store is yet again a major topic of conversation. Sneaky three-stage malware has been found for Tech Republic and ZDNet. My name is Dan Patterson with ZDNet's Danny Palmer. Danny, what makes this malware so sneaky?
What's interesting about this particular form of Android malware, as you mentioned, it's not the first in the Google Play Store, far from it, is that it basically comes about via hiding itself initially, then it has a multi-step process in order to find the malicious payload. This one was just dubbed simply a Trojan dropper, discovered by researchers at ESET. It starts off the process like many other forms of Android malware by disguising itself in the Google Play official store as some sort of app. Apps which tend to look useful, but these ones are not legitimate. Although in this case, they do initially perform the actions the app is supposed to do, be it a torch, a calendar, a stopwatch, that sort of thing. But once it's been installed and once it's been used for a little while, it takes a few minutes before it asks for extra permissions, which if you've used apps on Android before, many apps seem to use a lot of permissions they may not necessarily need. So a lot of people will just click through and say, yep, that's fine, I give you permission to do this. What that does is give the malicious software the permission to carry out its malicious activities. So what it does in a three-step process is connect with the malicious server and slowly but surely add more functionalities, download them in packets. The first stage drops some instructions, then it has a second stage which downloads more things and drops more instructions. Then a third stage completes the deal, at which stage it is then fully functioning as malware. All of this is going on in the background without the user even knowing what's going on. The system doesn't know what's happening. But once this process is complete, the attackers can use it to drop other forms of malware. It's been seen to be dropping a form of banking malware in one instance, which it's not affected that many users, but it's still a significant deal for those affected because it's giving all their bank details, personal information to attackers, all because they've downloaded what they think is a normal app, which turns out to be malicious. Apps which have somehow, thanks to the hiding of the process within the app in multi-stages, has got past the Google Play barriers and into its official store. It's not a good look for Google, who have regularly had to deal with malicious apps finding its way into its official store. The apps have now been removed, but in some cases, with other applications, malicious apps have been removed, then they found their way into the store again. So this may not necessarily be the end of this, but it's certainly worrying for Google and Android users who are not careful what they're downloading.
And Google, like you said, has nuked some malware. They caught the TZ malware that was propagating. But Danny, why is Play such a ripe target for hackers?
One of the reasons Play is such a ripe target for hackers is because, unlike, for example, the Apple App Store, the iPhone Store, which is heavily curated by Apple, Apple have a very big say over what goes into that store. The Google Play Store is based around Android, which the very core concept of Android is open source. So the idea is anyone can submit an application to the store and present it for other people to download and use. Obviously, 99% of the applications within the store are perfectly legitimate and fine, but it's just that these malicious actors are managing to bypass the Google Play verification process, be it through hiding their malicious intent within the app or downloading the malicious applications into the app at a later date, and present themselves to users. Usually these applications are things in their own right, or they can be disguised as games or common applications. But one recent instance of this saw a fake version of WhatsApp in the store, which somehow remained in the store for quite some time before it was taken down, with 1 million people downloading this fake version of WhatsApp in the belief that it was the real thing, which it wasn't. And they've become infected with malicious software as a result. It's it's Google says it's doing all it can to stop malware entering the store, but there's obviously still problems because this keeps happening.
All right, you can learn more about Android security as well as how to remove and find and prevent malicious applications by visiting ZDNet. And you can read Danny's entire story called Sneaky Three-Stage Malware found in Google Play by visiting ZDNet. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe to the ZDNet Cybersecurity Newsletter.